Hey everyone, it's Heidi from Petaluda Style. I am so happy to be back. I have had quite a ex- I have no words. The last couple weeks have been really heavy and very deep, and it's a huge reason why I wanted to get on here and make a video for you guys today, focusing on grief and dying. So, specifically about grieving death. It's not about grieving relationships that, like a breakup or somebody maybe moving away. So, there's distance between you guys or, a misunderstanding. I'm literally doing a Reiki session to help us grieve the death process. And although I haven't experienced anyone dying during the last couple weeks, I have definitely been in the energy of grieving death. I have a dear friend whose father had passed away a year ago, so grieving the anniversary of that was really heavy this last week. Their father was coming through for me, and yeah, I was very thankful that he trusted me with some things that um, came through. So that was a beautiful experience, but also really heavy because I just know that experience that happened, and just really grateful that I was able to be trusted in that space. I also had a memorial for a student who had passed over the summer, and their mother as well. So I was holding space for a lot of students, coworkers. I was also getting messages from the student, and really having to find ways for me to be grounded in all of this, because even though being a medium is just freaking incredible. I love it. I love it so much. Like, wow. It is really heavy and it can get overwhelming. So I was really trying to, and I'm still doing it. You could tell I'm because I hear things, I hear people. I'm still trying to ground myself in this, but I know this is the perfect time to get this Reiki session out because Pluto is also in Capricorn right now, and Pluto is the planet of death. And so it's very heavy right now, this kind of energy. I also got some news about a family member who's very, very, very dear and close to me, and I will eventually be needing to grieve them as well when they transition. So just a really, really tender, precious, I can't even think of words, time that I'm in personally, but I know that all of us are grieving loved ones, even people who have passed decades ago. When we love someone and they transition, it's hard because we don't get the opportunity to see them physically anymore and have those interactions that we used to. But I also want to remind you that even though I can hear people, and maybe you don't, they're still with you. Their energy is still around you. You're gonna find other ways to have a relationship with that loved one. They're gonna come through for you, and you just have to be aware and trust that that will happen. Some souls that do transition don't want to interact or come back. So also keep that in mind. So if somebody passes and you miss them and you're like, why aren't they showing up? It could it could be that they don't want to because they want to give you that space, or maybe they're just not sure how to show up yet. You know, people who pass on also have to handle that transition too and get used to it. Just grab some water. So my goal for our Reiki practice today is to bring some enlightenment, some guidance, some reprieve, some peace to this whole process of grieving death and also welcoming it. Don't be so put together. I know for myself, with the situation going on with my family member, I have put myself in a place of being very strong, just plowing through it, having the other folks who have passed on and dealing with the anniversaries of those, and the memorial and things. Like it was hard for me to really focus on the reality of what is happening in my family. And now that I have a little bit of distance between the two that I mentioned earlier, I am able to focus on my family member more and the reality of what it is. And I am really needing this Reiki too to process, even though they're still with us in the 3D. I also think it's important for all of us to really exercise and work on grief, and that it is a completely normal, healthy process to go through. So I would like to share the tools that I have today for our Reiki session, our practice. I'm wearing a fossil necklace. Fossils to me represent death and rebirth. So lots of bones. Bones are, gosh, one of my favorite tools. I don't have many, but I am starting a collection. I have this vertebrae. I have no idea what kind of animal it's from. I bought it from up in the mountains. A local artist makes these, both of these pieces actually. So I'm wearing my vertebrae. I wore this when I was attuned for all of my Reiki attunements. So all 3 levels. I like to wear this a lot when I am working with people who have passed on. So like mediumship. I also have this very special feather that I believe my grandmother gifted to me. My grandmother was born on July 11th. So 711 is an angel number for me. It's like the ultimate one for me. I have it tattooed on my ankle. Anytime I see it, I know that she is giving me a message, whatever I'm thinking about at that moment, and I see it, it's like confirmation. So I was at the beach with my boys and our friends 2 summers ago on her birthday, just happened to be on 7/11, and when we came home from the beach, this was sitting on my passenger seat next to me. Boys, my children had no idea that it was there. They didn't bring it in the car. So I always think that my grandma gifted me this feather. So I like to use it during these kind of sessions. I also have this bracelet. I don't want to show it off too much, but I have a bracelet that was given to me and students and staff from the student who passed over the summer. So I have that with us. And I also have my garden quartz little sphere here to help with protection, but also allowing energy to flow. So it's both. Oh yeah, and I have my deities that I work heavily with. Freya happens to be like the one that I work most with. it says sensuality on here, and yeah, like I work with that too, but she also is a goddess of war and death, and she helps soldiers, warriors transition to the other side. So I wanted to include her in this session. So she is one of my best teachers. She's been with me for a few years, and I'm so thankful for her. Freya right there. And Kali, she is, I mean, you could tell by the card, and it also says endings and beginnings. So death, we think it's an ending, but guys, it's a beginning. It's a huge beginning when death happens. But I know it's hard. I am not trying to downplay death and how achingly difficult it is to go through that process of loss. But I also know that it can become such a beautiful beginning as well. So, and I have this tarot deck with us. I'm not going to pull, oh, upside down, sorry. I'm not going to pull any cards. It's just here as energy. This is a very potent deck. It's strongly associated with death, and it's here just as energy. Pluto is in Capricorn right now. Pluto is a planet that is heavily associated with death. So this is just the theme that I am feeling for today, and it's perfect. It's a new moon also, and I am going to be doing another reading kind of focused on that. But new moons are about beginnings and bringing in all this newness. And I think it's really beautiful that I am doing this video today because, like I said, with Kali, that it's endings and beginnings. So we can really be inspired by this new moon to and no matter when you watch this, even if it's not a new moon, but just the inspiration of it, to celebrate, remember, and just be so grateful for like the time that we had with our loved ones in the 3D on Earth, and to also be so excited for like the new beginnings for them and for us. So okay, I actually feel a lot better saying that. I'm going to go ahead and start our session. So if you are wanting to receive this Reiki healing, focusing specifically on grief around dying, I welcome you to receive this, to accept it. You could say yes, you can acknowledge it however you need. And I will go ahead and start our session. So if you're ready to join, you can take a few breaths in and out through your nose. You can also exhale through the mouth. I'm going to clear with this clearing spray I've mentioned before. Has mountain water from the local mountains here. And I'm just shaking it to kind of break up the heavy energy. It's very heavy. Continue to breathe. I feel like I need to spray it one more time. And let's all take one more deep inhale and exhale out. And what I'm getting and what I'm hearing is remember, this is all about to help us who are still here, help us with the grieving process when we lose someone to death. And I'm talking specifically about people and literal death. I'm not trying to say like the death of a dream or no, this is like concrete person passed away. Okay. So what I'm getting is to help us who are still here and mourning and grieving this loved one or multiple people, that another way to look at it is that they are moving on to the next level, to the next part of their journey. And I know that that's not easy, especially when somebody passes tragically. The two people I mentioned at the beginning who have been coming through for me, who I've remembered this last week, both of those, or all of them, they were extremely tragic. So even with that message that I'm hearing, to think about it in a way that they are moving on to the next level of their journey, the next phase, transition. Like saying that makes me feel so happy, but when I think of the way that they passed, it's so tragic. And like, how could you paint that positive light on something like that? But no matter how a loved one passes, they move on. They get to go on to the next phase. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, that they have moved on and are able to be at peace. Some people who do pass tragically, they are at peace once they pass. But what they may struggle with, and they're not in pain. I want to make sure you know this. They're not hurting. They're not in pain physically. However, they may experience learning about how they passed and being upset with that. Some of us who transition on, they may not have been ready for that in the 3D. They may have had some loose ends. They may have had some relationships that were I'm hearing like toxic, or maybe they were toxic in a relationship. There's burdens, there's unfinished business, so their spirit, their soul is still wrapping their head around all of that. So even in that transition, they're having to go through grief as well. But they are not in pain. The physical pain is gone. So somebody needs to hear that, because I think sometimes when people die, we think that, yes, they're in pain, of course, if it's like a car crash or illness, you know, or anything like murder. If you die from something that was painful, like of course, like in the physical 3D, yeah, it will hurt. Um, but once they have transitioned and have moved on, that pain isn't there. They're not hurting anymore. So somebody needs to hear this because this is strong. um, if someone had an illness, when they move on, it's not with them anymore. They don't have that. They don't have that anymore. So just know that when our loved ones move on to the other side or transition to the next phase of their journey, however you look at it, you know, some of us think heaven, hell. Um, Me personally, I feel like it's just another layer of the journey. So energy is always present. That's why I hear I hear dead people, because the energy, the soul is still present, even if the physical body is not. The soul is still present, and there are multiple timelines, universes, all that. Like it's dimensions. So I just keep getting that so many of us who are grieving right now need to know that there's no pain when they transition. That pain is gone. The illness is gone. The physical body that they left is no longer a burden for them. Something that I've learned, probably 2 years ago, I learned this, and it's really helped me to detach from wanting to be in control of my body, because I've dealt with so many health issues. And that's something I can share about it another time, because I know people need to hear that too, but my body has been through so much. And a way to help detach from the body is to say the body. I am not claiming this body as being me. I am soul. I have a body and I have a mind. It is not my mind and it is not my body. These are gifts that I have been given to take care of and to love and to cherish and to grow and to hold. They are vessels to help me travel and be here in the 3D. Okay, there's a point to me sharing this. So in saying that, I'm channeling, so if I seem kind of everywhere, that's why. But the point in me like sharing this information with you is so you can recognize that when somebody passes on, the body that they had, the mind that they had, it's associated with them, yes, of course, but they are a soul, and their soul stays, their soul remains, the soul continues, the soul never dies, it reincarnates if you believe in that. It keeps going, it keeps moving, it keeps learning, it keeps growing. So please know that when a body leaves, when a mind leaves, the soul stays. how it works. And it's okay if you don't agree with that or believe in it. Just know that your loved one is still around. So I'm just combing through the energy because I'm definitely feeling some resistance to some of the things that I'm sharing, and it's okay. Some of this stuff can be hard to wrap the mind around, especially if you grew up with certain beliefs around death and what happens after somebody passes. But I know that I'm here to be a guide, to share what I know, what I've been given. And think about those moments just throughout your day where maybe you're out and about and you see a butterfly and you go, "Oh, hi grandma," or you think about your grandmother in those moments. Your grandmother loved butterflies. It's their soul. They're just coming back around to let you know they're here. Or maybe you had a dream about your best friend who passed on and it felt so real. It was them, it was their soul visiting you in your dream. Or maybe you're sitting somewhere like on a bench that you and I don't know, your loved one used to visit and they passed on, and you could feel something. You feel like a little pressure on your back or like chills down your arm. It's them. You're driving in your car and you're thinking about your father who has been gone, I don't know, 20 years, but you remember listening to the Beatles with them and a Beatles song pops on and you're like, "Whoa, I was just thinking of them." And it's their soul. They're talking to you. They're trying to communicate. And I'm sharing these examples because these are ways that I communicate with people who have passed on in my life, and also people I have no idea who they are, or maybe I do. I've never met them, but like love my friends, family, have talked about people who have passed away, and they come through for me in these ways too. So just know that when people leave the bodies that they have in this lifetime, their souls remain. Their soul moves on, but it still comes back to visit. It still remains. It can be here and it can be there at the same time. It's crazy. And it's the same for us who are still here in the 3D. Okay, our souls are multidimensional. I'm getting a lot of resistance with what I'm sharing, but that's okay. I'm gonna be brave and keep sharing it. this skater girl tattoo that I recently got. I will have a video about it because there's a amazing, beautiful story behind it. But I got it to represent the most beautiful, incredible, amazing, life-changing moment I had as a medium. It confirmed so much for me, and it reminds me to be myself, speak my truth, even when I'm very uncomfortable with it and I don't want to look like a freak. Because being a medium, for me, it's still kind of fresh. At least practicing it and sharing it with people is very fresh for me. But it's a reminder to just be me and share what I need to. And in terms of this Reiki session, I'm just rubbing my hands to get the energy to calm down a little bit. But in terms of our Reiki session today, we're focusing on grief and how to handle that, how to work through it, and maybe learn some other ways of looking at what happens to our loved ones when they die to kind of help us with that grief. It's in waves too. That's what I'm getting. So when you feel like you have arrived and you're done mourning, you're done grieving, you may be hit with a wave again. And that's okay. Energy is not linear. It's a tool to help us see where we're at, the work we need to continue doing, what our focus should be. It also helps us in our humanity to experience being a human in this lifetime. Even if you're a spiritual person, you're still a human. So we're a soul having a human experience, and it's not the other way around. And death can really put that into perspective. And if you're someone who is grieving and you're still, I shouldn't say if, this is anybody. This is everyone who has lost somebody to death. And you are still trying to function in your life. Please know that you are doing enough. I'm getting so many chills right now. Okay. You are doing enough. You are doing a beautiful job. You can break down and shut down and have days and weeks of mourning and crying and finding yourself on the floor, like just losing it, then you're doing a beautiful job, because this is not easy. This is not an easy process. Everything I'm sharing today, I really, really want to make sure that you understand that I am not trying to make this process easy for you or to belittle grief. The point of this Reiki session is to help shed light on what happens when a loved one passes, so that you can find some comfort in knowing that they aren't suffering. And also to bring comfort to you and to hopefully lessen the blow of your pain and heartache. But not to belittle it. That's not what I'm doing. Just want to bring you comfort. I want to remind you that you can still have a relationship with that person. It's a new beginning in that relationship. You see it differently, you experience it differently, but it's still there. And even though it hurts, like, just swearing in my head. It hurts like nothing you've experienced before. Just know that they are with you. 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 Guiding you. They're your angels. They're your guides, your ancestors. They are with you. They're with you. And they love you. They're proud of you. They're thankful for you. They're thankful for the help that you gave them, and remembering them and honoring them. They are with you in your grief too. And they're holding you while you grieve. You're not alone in it. to thank you so much for being brave enough to go through that Reiki session and to maybe hear things that were hard to hear. I understand that grief is different for everybody and our beliefs are different as well. And I am only here to share things that are going to help and provide the greatest good for all who are ready and willing to receive these messages. I feel very honored that I get to do this and that I was able to provide this today. And if you are actively grieving, if somebody has recently passed in your life, I hold the deepest space for you to mourn your loved one and to grieve them and know that whatever you experience during that process is beautiful and normal. And I am here for you, that your loved one is so, so happy and proud and honored, that you love them and remember them, and all the souls that move on to the other other side, other stage of the journey, they want their loved ones to be at peace too, the ones who are still here. So please know that. Please know that our angels, our guides who aren't with us physically anymore, they want us to be at peace and they want us to remember them in the best light, and that they are still with us and guiding us and loving us, and they show up when we need them. So thank you so much, you guys, for being here, for allowing me to do this for you. I'm so honored. I will do other videos like this too, because I feel like it's very important and I feel strongly guided to focus on this, death especially, and other ways to process it and look at it to make it just a more more like a celebration, more like a new beginning. But again, we're not taking away the grief and the mourning. We don't take that away, because that is a part of our experience as human beings in the process of death. So, but just to shed some light on it, to have a different perspective. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I have this gift and I'm able to share it with you. Until next time, thank you so much, and I will talk to you later.